Oh, okay, wonderful. We are live on YouTube as well. Make sure all my sound settings are good. Let's see. Okay, good. All right, wonderful. So we are streaming on YouTube. And let me welcome all of you who are joining here on Zoom. Let's see who is here. Welcome, Leanne in Nebraska. Glad to have you here. Welcome, Sandra in Portugal. Jillian in Ottawa, Canada. Sarah in Toronto. Welcome, Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Welcome, Lisa in Colorado. Miriam in Toronto. Francois in the Netherlands. Karen in Sweden. Jillian in the UK. Stephen in Los Angeles. Hi, Valerie in Ireland. Hello, hello. Hi, Joanne in Canada. Maureen in Pennsylvania. Virginia in Pennsylvania. Stacy in the UK. Vicky in Belgium. Wow, wonderful. So glad to see all of you on here. So many people. Yay. Hi, Lauren Rose in Paris. Hello, hello. Hi, Anna in Mexico. Hi, Benaz in SoCal. Hi, Valena in Virginia. Hi, Jeffrey in Oregon. Zoe in France. Bruna in Brazil. Yay. So glad to have you all on here. And yeah, so many blessings to you, everybody. Lionsgate blessings and Sun in Leo blessings. It's quite a powerful time that we're in, and I'm going to share more about that in just a minute. And I'm also going to go on to share a little bit more about the astrology that we have coming up, because what I can see with this Lionsgate portal is that we're going into the portal now, and this is just the beginning. This portal is really opening us up to this incredible astrology and energetics that's coming in through the rest of the year. That's going to be very transformational and even into the beginning of the new year. So I'll tell you more about that. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting. So let me go ahead and share my slides here with you, and we can begin. And you all know I love to share slides because it just makes it so much more clear. And I can show these beautiful images from Egypt as part of the slides. And, you know, I think it's so fun this way. And I hope you all enjoy it this way as well. And for those who may not know me, I am Jocelyn Starfeather. I am the founder of Sacred Planet. And I am here to help everyone who is in the Sacred Planet community to really break free from all of the bonds, the rules, the restrictions, the regulations that have been holding us back, the old belief systems, the old patterns, so that we can build the radical new world together. That is what I'm a stand for. So this Lionsgate is really helping us to do all of that and to open up to our highest potentials. So I'm going to share with you today about the Mystery School teachings of the Lionsgate and the astrology of August 2023 and beyond. So let's begin. So the Lionsgate. Now, there's a lot going around on the internet every year at this time about the Lionsgate and the portals and our connections with our star families. And all of that is very important as well. And what I'm focusing on here is the heliacal rising of the star Sirius, because historically, and particularly in cultures like ancient Egypt, ancient Sumeria, and these other ancient cultures that had profound wisdom, including mystery school wisdom, that is why this time is important. So Sirius is a fixed star at 13 degrees of Cancer, and it is one of the closest stars to our solar system. It's only 8.6 light years away from us. Now, when Sirius is rising on the eastern horizon at the same time as or just before the sun, it is considered the heliacal rising of this star. And this is true for any star. Because the sun moves through all 12 zodiac signs and moves through all of the different areas of the sky where the stars are located, when the sun is covering a star, or when the sun is too close to a star, that star cannot be seen for a period of about 70 days. And when the sun then shifts to another part of the sky and that star becomes visible again in the morning sky just before the sunrise, that is the heliacal rising of that star. Now, this very, very important moment of the heliacal rising of the star Sirius occurs on our modern day calendar around the end of July and beginning of August every single year. And this time was very closely tracked in ancient Egypt and those other ancient cultures that I mentioned, and held really important significance in their astrology and also in their mystery school traditions. Now, if you will notice that the Sphinx, and I have a beautiful image of the Sphinx and the pyramids at sunrise right here. That was just an incredible moment. You can see the pyramids are glowing golden, and the Sphinx is just gazing toward the east eternally, as she always does, right? The Sphinx's eternal gaze is fixed upon the eastern horizon. Why? What is the Sphinx waiting for? Now, there are many, many theories about this, but if we look at what was really important in ancient Egyptian astrology and the timing that they looked to perform their rituals and build their new temples, etc., the Sphinx may have been looking at the eastern horizon to always be aware of what star is rising with the sun today, because this would indicate the incoming energies for the coming period of time. So there's that beautiful image again. I just love that one. If you could have seen the way the pyramids were glowing. And this is what happens every day at sunrise there. It's very magical. Now, in the ancient mystery schools, the rising planets and stars, rising meaning that they are on the horizon at the same time or just before the sun, as well as so this was one thing the ancient Egyptians looked at, is what is rising with the sun on the eastern horizon. Also, they looked at what is in the midheaven or the highest point of the sky. Okay, so these placements of the planets and stars determined whether it was the appropriate time to hold a ritual or a ceremony or a celebration. And they also looked to these planets and stars to indicate, is there going to be abundance or famine this year? And when should we break ground for a new temple? When should we plant? When should we harvest? Are spells of protection needed? This kind of thing. And this is sacred timekeeping. Now, we see this showing up in different ways in many different ancient cultures, sacred timekeeping, but we see it evidenced the earliest of anywhere in the world in the Egyptian text. As far as what we can see, historical evidence that we can look at artifacts and see what was written down, this was written in the pyramid text as early as 2300 BC, right? And there are temples in Egypt and in other places specifically built to align with the heliacal rising of particular stars. We have also found what are being called star clocks in the literature on the inside of Egyptian coffin lids. Now, this is from about 2100 BC that charted the sequence of the rising stars. And this would be something that looked kind of like this. Now, you can see the complexity. You can see the depth of development that they had at this, charting these stars. And the Egyptians looked at the sky not in 12 zodiac signs, but in 36 decans. And every decan is 10 degrees of the zodiac, and there's 36 of them to make up the full circle. Now, this heliacal rising being studied and monitored in ancient Egypt was going on well before the documented rise of astrology in Sumeria or Mesopotamia. So this was happening at a very, very early time in ancient Egypt. And as with everything in ancient Egypt, we look at something like this and you can see they didn't just invent this the day before they wrote it all down. This had been developed for hundreds, at least probably thousands of years before this was encoded on a papyrus or on the temple walls or in the pyramid texts. So very powerful how this was being tracked. Now let's talk about Sirius specifically. And so this is one particular star that it seems the ancient cultures all around the world paid very close attention to and were particularly interested in its heliacal rising. Interestingly, many different ancient cultures, and ones on far different sides of the earth that apparently had no communications between one another, have named the star Sirius as either a dog or a wolf. And if in our modern lingo, we call it the dog star, Sirius, the dog star. And so Sirius has a really key role in the mythologies and the cosmologies from all around the world. It is often considered sacred, and it is often linked to gods and goddesses. For example, in ancient Egypt, it's linked to the goddess Isis. Now, the Sirius star system, as I mentioned before, is only 8.6 light years away from the Earth. That makes it one of the very closest stars to our Earth. And Sirius has been understood to be a sister star to our sun in many different ancient cultures. So Sirius and our sun may have actually been formed or been birthed from the galactic center at the same time. Another really interesting thing is that in ancient Greece, when you see the ancient Greek texts and they're writing about Sirius, they say very clearly that this star is red. But if you look at Sirius in the nighttime sky today, it's very clearly blue. So this shift in color has recently been discovered to indicate when a star appears to be red, it's actually moving away from the Earth. When it appears to be blue, it's moving closer to the Earth. So this is indicating the great cycles of expansion and contraction within the universe, and Sirius and our sun and our solar system being part of that, right? So it really was red in ancient Greek times. It really is blue today. Very fascinating. Also, because Sirius is far closer than most other stars that we can see from the Earth, she doesn't move in exactly the same pattern that we see in other stars, and this makes it more difficult to track her, in the astrological programs and that kind of thing. So that's very fascinating too. She kind of has a unique sovereignty of her own. Getting even more fascinating, if any of you have heard of the Dogon tribe, they are located in Mali, Africa, and they hold extensive knowledge about the star Sirius. So this tribe even knew that, so there's Sirius A, that's the blue star we can see in our sky with, unaided, with no telescope or anything like that. There is a very, very undetectable white dwarf star called Sirius B that is right next to Sirius A, that there's no way anyone could see from Earth without a telescope, and was not detected until about the 1920s with our modern technology. But the Dogon tribe knew about the presence of this white dwarf star, and they even knew its orbital period in conjunction with Sirius A being 50 years. How did they know this? We don't know for sure. But the traditions of the Dogon people hold that they were visited by people from the Sirius star system thousands of years ago, and those people passed along this galactic knowledge to them, and they said that they were called the Nomos people. And these people not only told them about this second Sirius star, Sirius B, but also told them that Jupiter has 4 major moons, that Saturn has rings, and these were things that the Dogon tribe knew thousands and thousands of years ago, but nobody else knew until Galileo created the first telescope in 1609. Now, the Dogon tribe has been linked to Egypt and may have had connections with Egypt in prehistorical times. And as we know, there are other ancient cultures who have had knowledge about this, like deep knowledge about Saturn and Jupiter and things that were not discovered by Westernized culture till later, but these cultures knew it ahead of time. So it's very fascinating. In any case, this is just deepening the mysteries around Sirius, right? And deepening our interest in her and in learning more about her. Now, in Egyptian traditions, that which is ascending from the eastern side of the sky with the sun is being reborn and rejuvenated after its time in the underworld. And these are some of the key mystery school teachings around the star Sirius. Sirius, by the way, was called Sopdet in ancient Egypt. They called this star Sothis in ancient Greece, and Sopdet was the original name in ancient Egypt. Now, every star spends about 70 days in the underworld. Apologize for the background noise if you can hear that. And the stars appear to be in the underworld because we cannot see them in the nighttime sky because they're very close to the sun. So they're traveling with the sun on the opposite side of the planet when we're looking up at the nighttime sky. And so this is the normal cycle of all of the fixed stars in our sky. Again, mostly because of the movement of the sun. The fixed stars are moving, but at a very slow rate. The fixed stars move at 1 degree every 72 years, or one zodiac sign every 2,180 years. So that's very slow. That's the great precessional cycles. But the sun moves through one zodiac sign every month, right? So because of that movement of the sun, every star is basically invisible to us for about 70 days. And in the ancient Egyptian traditions, this underworld journey is seen as quite dangerous, and it was connected with the journey of the soul after death. And we see this written in so many different ancient texts from Egypt, the pyramid text, the Book of the Dead or Book of Coming Forth by Light, the Book of Gates, about the path that the soul must take in order to make it through to the next life, essentially. And so there are many obstacles along the way. And so they also considered that these stars were going through that same journey when they were in the underworld and could not be seen. And the rebirth of important stars, as each star then has its heliacal rising, was tracked by the priests in the temples, and it was celebrated. But none of the other stars' rebirths were celebrated as jubilantly as that of Sirius or Sopdet. So that is what we celebrate at the Lion's Gate. This is the time when Sirius or Sopdet, which is correlated with the great goddess Isis, it's seen as one and the same with Isis, or Iset in the ancient Egyptian, correct pronunciation. So this is the time when Sirius has been in the underworld since May, Isis has been in the underworld since May, and now at this time, the Lion's Gate, she reappears again. She rises on the eastern horizon just before the sun. She is reborn. She is bringing her sacred vital life force back to the lands. This is also mirrored in the tale of the underworld descent of Inanna in the Sumerian texts, right? This journey of the goddess into the underworld where she must be stripped of everything that she owns, everything that she is, almost brought to the point of death, and then she is allowed to rise again. And she fights her way back to reclaim the life force. So it just so happened in ancient Egypt that at the time that Sirius had her heliacal rising, the floodwaters of the Nile would suddenly become inundated again. Okay, because previous to that, the whole time that Sirius is in the underworld, the 70 days of the underworld journey of this star, Egypt would be in time of drought, and they would see the Nile River getting lower and lower. The crops might be failing, people would be hungry, thirsty. All of a sudden, this star reappears on the horizon, the floodwaters come in, and life returns to the lands. So this was a time of tremendous celebration. And here's an image of Isis on the right. This is her holding hands with Nefertari, one of the ancient Egyptian queens. And we know this is Isis because we see the throne and the egg here in her name. And here she is radiantly holding the sun disk on her head within the horns of the bull. Powerful headdress that she has here. This is the great goddess Isis, correlated with the star Sirius. Now, she is also the one who searched for and found and brought back her husband Osiris when he had been cut into 42 pieces by his brother Set. And she put him back together using magic. She was taught the magic from Thoth, and she restored the life force of Osiris. Now, this is really important. This is a critical part of the mystery school aspect of this teaching and this tradition, because Osiris represents all of us in the dismembered and fragmented state in which we find ourselves in today's world, right? So this is a story on one level of Osiris being put back together, right? It's a story on another level of the floodwaters returning to the Nile, life returning to the land. But this is also the story of our rebirth after moving through the trials and initiations of our own lives, Okay. And knowing that, yes, we do have times that we go through the underworld, and then we have the times that we rise again. Right. So this is a reminder of our power, a reminder that we can, once again, remember ourselves. We can put ourselves back together. We can remember who we truly are. And that's really what's happening with this great rising of consciousness on our planet right now, is that collectively we are remembering who we are. We are coming back to our power. We are coming back to our sovereignty. We are coming back to our connection with the magic and with our reciprocal relationship with the earth and the cosmos and all that is, right? We are remembering ourselves. And so the floodgates are opening, right? We are returning en masse to this sacred way of living, to the reciprocal connection with all of life. We are so guided by these great heavenly powers. This is incredibly important in explaining what is happening in our world today. It's the same thing that's happening every year through the Lion's Gate. And here's a beautiful image from Abydos Temple. And this is the Pharaoh Seti I making an offering of a necklace to Iset and Usir, Isis and Osiris. And I just love this image because you can see the wings of Isis, and you can see how she is wrapping her wings of protection around her husband Osiris with love, with magic, bringing him back to life, putting him back together. Right. Very, very powerful image. This is the power of Isis. This is the power of the star Sirius to help us remember ourselves and to hold that space for us, right? To hold her great wings around us while we recalibrate, reconfigure, and remember, and then bring ourselves back into our power. She is a great catalyst for this. So we can connect with her at this time. And that is what I recommend. And we'll do a shamanic journey a little bit later today, connecting in with Isis. So you can step through the Lion's Gate portal with her and claim that remembrance. So powerful. So there are many ways in our world that we are shown the infinite, never-ending theme of birth, life, death, and rebirth, these unending cycles, right? These infinite cycles. We see this in the cycles of the sun every day, in the cycles of the moon every month, in the cycles of the seasons every 3 or 4 months, right? In many ways in our world, the cycles of life of ourselves and every being around us. But this heliacal rising of the star Sirius was one of the really important ways in ancient Egypt and other ancient cultures that they were reminded of the return of life after times of death and letting go and challenge. And in the ancient times, they made sure to hold rituals, to make offerings, to live their lives in a way that would continually facilitate this rebirth happening. And this is another invitation that I have for you today to really activate these mystery school teachings in your life, is to go out and make an offering today on the Lion's Gate, or whenever if you're listening to this as a recording later, whenever you listen to it, go out and make an offering to the earth. And this can be an offering of a small crystal. It can be an offering of cornmeal or sage or tobacco, whatever moves you, right? Whatever feels right to you to offer to the earth. It can be a little bit of your breakfast or a little bit of your dinner. Offer it to the earth and offer it to the goddess Isis, Iset, at this incredibly powerful time of the heliacal rising of Sirius, because this is such a huge part of what we're meant to remember right now, that we have this sacred and reciprocal connection with all living things, right? And we have a reciprocal connection with the star Sirius and all the stars and planets, with the earth, with all of the living beings around us. And it is actually our responsibility as humans to honor that relationship. And when we keep this theme in mind of honoring and ensuring the rebirth of all things, that intention goes into our offering. And that's extremely powerful for what the world needs right now. You know, there is so much that we hear about death and destruction, unfortunately, at this time. What if more and more of us start taking actions to ensure the rebirth of all things by connecting with that sacredness, making offerings, holding our rituals, right? And so this is to ensure the continuance of life itself. And you will see that in literally every ancient and every indigenous culture, these actions were taken, rituals were held, offerings were made to ensure the continuance of life itself, because they knew of this universal principle. We have largely forgotten it. We have mostly forgotten it today, but many of us are remembering. All of you on this call are remembering. Right. So bring that into your life in whatever way feels right. And I especially encourage you to make an offering today to the earth, to Sirius, to Isis. And so this Lionsgate time is truly a time of rebirth for all of us. And it's a time to think about and honor the initiations, the transformations, the dark nights of the soul that we have been through, and to acknowledge all that we've learned from those times, right? Because there are times in our life where we can't move forward, where we are completely confused or lost or stuck or ill or sidelined in some way, right? But we will rise again. And this rising energy of Sirius reminds us of that and inspires us with new ways to approach our challenges, to bring in a different perspective. And so that is really the huge power of this portal that we're in, that I think everybody is feeling. We are receiving the energy of Sirius in this very special alignment with the sun and with the earth. And we are receiving the codes, the wisdom codes, the truth codes of this star and of the great goddess Isis. Right. And so we can make big shifts in our life at this time. We can have new understandings of how to approach our challenges come through. We can have new understandings of what we truly need to bring into our lives. And we can recalibrate, we can rebuild and come into greater and greater alignment with our own highest path and with that larger plan that is the sacred architecture of the universe. Right. So it's a very, very powerful time to really claim what you need, claim what you most deeply desire, claim what your heart is calling out for. And maybe you've denied because it felt, like you're asking too much, or it felt scary, or it felt like other people wouldn't understand, whatever that might be. Really claim it today. And as you go out and make that offering, set the intention for that which your heart most deeply desires to come into your life. Because these portals are open, it's all becoming possible now. I also wanted to mention that we are powered up right now by the energies of the sun in Leo. Always at this Lionsgate time, when the heliacal rising of Sirius is happening at 13 degrees of Cancer, the sun is in Leo. And you can see that's because the sun has gotten far enough away from Sirius that she can, about one zodiac sign away, that she can be visible again. Sirius can be visible again, far enough away from the sun, right? And so with the sun in Leo, it brings in this incredible, fierce and courageous energy, which is very, very connected with the heart. Leo is all about the heart. It's all about courage. And heart and core they're the same word in many languages, including French. This courage, this deep, deep courage we have in our hearts, and our longing to really live a life of highest integrity, of full self-expression, expressing our passion, expressing what we love, right? This energy of the sun in Leo is so powerful. So we can be really, really connected in with what is strongest in our heart at this time, and then use that fierceness, boldness, courageousness to bring it into our lives. And I have a beautiful image of Sekhmet here with her uraeus, which is the crown of cobras. This is from near Karnak Temple in the precinct of Mut in Egypt. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we have the Lionsgate. So with everything I just told you about, all these mysteries and mystery school teachings of the Lionsgate itself, and that's not all, because the Lionsgate, especially this year, is opening a portal into the next 6 to 8 months of extremely powerful astrological transits. So these coming months carry the following invitations and many more, but this is what I kind of boil it down to here. So first of all, to recalibrate our lives to come into greater alignment with our own truth, soul level desires, passion, and self-expression. right? That's really the Leo energy. Like, what is in your heart and how can you recalibrate your life to come into greater alignment with that? And we're going to have a lot of retrogrades happening. Retrogrades are all about recalibration, rethink, rework, revise, redo, right? Realign. And so we're going to really be able to go deeply into that in the coming months. We're also going to have all the support we need to alchemize the pain from the past into a bright new future. And this is really about alchemy. This is really about transforming our darkness into light, transforming what feels like lead, what feels like heaviness, stuckness, denseness in our lives into lightness and flow and freedom. That is true alchemy. And there is so much potential coming up for that in the coming months, which I'll tell you about soon. And it's this huge invitation to rethink, rewrite, reimagine what is possible so we can build our dreams into reality. And that is very much with the support of Saturn and Pisces, which I'll explain soon too. I don't have a slide for it right at the moment, but I'll just share with you the alchemical prayer. And those of you who know this, go ahead and say it now. Dear universe, please send me all of the things that I need the most that I do not even yet know are possible, right? Yes, I hope. I recommend saying that prayer 3 times a day. It causes incredible changes into your life. Now, I want to share something with you that is a powerful opportunity that I want to let you all know about before I go into the astrology. So I want to share with you these slides right here. And it's so interesting. I coach a lot of entrepreneurs at different levels of their businesses, and I love just watching how I move through different phases of my business as I am watching everyone else move through these different phases. And I'm feeling really called to open more one-on-one spaces this year. In the past few years, I've really been leading mostly groups and online courses, but I'm feeling called to open up my calendar and open one-on-one spaces. So I just want to tell you about this very, very special kind of Sirius Star Portal Mystery School Mentorship that I am opening up at this time. And after I tell you about this, we'll move right into the astrology. So it's really important to see and to recognize that we are being brought through initiations at this time. And so we are navigating a modern day mystery school. Now, in the ancient times, they had mystery schools that were set up that would be, really a lifetime commitment for those who are meant to be priests and priestesses to come in and learn about their own power, how to work with their own power, how to work with alchemy, how to work with astrology, how to work with rituals and ceremonies. And we have a little bit of that available in our world, but it's not at the depth that they were able to go to in the ancient times. And so life, just our normal day-to-day life, is becoming a mystery school for us. Okay, so that we can be initiated into our power, so that we can be connected with our highest potentials and highest evolutions, even if the mystery schools are not formally here. And this is so interesting. And this is what we're seeing in our world today, that chaos and challenges are existing side by side with ecstatic breakthroughs. Type yes in the chat if you're feeling that. There's like so much chaos, so much challenge. And at the same time, there are these incredible revelations and synchronicities and miracles breaking through, right? And so it can be difficult to tell how to navigate, like what to focus on as all of this is happening. And really, at the core of this, what we need to remember is that the intensity that sometimes we complain about, right? We're like, oh, it's so intense, I can't handle it anymore, But that intensity is the magic breaking back through. And the challenges that we're going through are the openings of new opportunities. They're just outside of our comfort zone, so it feels hard, right? And the rapid changes are the mysteries and the freedom breaking through to support and guide us. It's all one and the same. So it's like we've been wanting and hoping and looking forward to this time when finally the world would be able to change, when finally the great shifts would be able to happen. And even our ancestors have been praying for this time, right? That we can finally like turn the boat away from the old broken down patterns and patriarchal structures and into a radical new world. And it's finally happening, right? And that's why it's so intense. And that's why everything's changing, because it's truly all happening. And those of us who are alive right now are here because we're strong enough to handle it. And we are meant to be part of this revolution. I just want to see what everybody has written in the chat. A lot of yeses. Yes, 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 challenges. Yes, can be overwhelming while also exciting. Yeah, it's like it's exciting and terrifying at the same time, right? That's how you know you're fully living, if it feels like that. Yes, 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 lots of yeses. So those of us who are here now, we have actually a responsibility, and those of us who are awake and aware, right, to cultivate the highest levels of courage and resilience so that we can really receive and become all of the magic that's breaking through. So I'm here to guide you if you want to go deeper into this, if you would like to have the support in really discovering your greatest power, discovering your greatest magic, and being able to fully live it now. So I'm opening up this very special one-on-one Mystery School Mentorship. And in this very incredibly powerful container, I'm going to be sharing the deepest teaching from Egypt, from alchemy, from astrology, from indigenous and shamanic studies. And I'm going to be bringing my 7-year background in visionary life and business coaching. Plus, I have over 22 years in business and project management and entrepreneurial studies and experience, right? And so all of this comes together in this very, very customized one-on-one program to meet you exactly where you are on your own sacred journey and provide precisely what you need most to rise into your highest power. Now, for some of you, this may be business related, right? And so we can work on it that way. But for others, this may just be about life and not wanting to start a business. Either way is perfect, right? This is to dive into what the universe is calling you to, what your own evolution is calling for, and really help you to fully receive that. Now, as I spoke about when I announced my recent donation-based course, okay, based on the alchemical law of polarities, just as one side of a polarity gets stronger, the other side becomes just as strong. So as we see these challenges, intensity, shadows in our world seeming to ramp up and escalate, what is actually true is that all of the opposites of that, all the light, the breakthroughs, the up-leveling, the new opportunities are becoming just as strongly activated and available to us. And I would venture to say even more so, okay, even more available than the challenges and shadows. It's just about us really opening to receive all of that light. And we're a little afraid to, right? Even though it's light, even though it's amazing, it's so big and it's so much, it's bigger than what we've ever experienced in this lifetime or in many generations. So this mentorship is an invitation to really embrace the idea that everything you have dreamed of becoming and creating is rushing towards you now. And the only question then becomes, are you ready to receive it? Right? And what do you need in order to fully open and be ready to receive it? And that's what I'm here for, is to guide and support you so that you can become truly ready to receive all that's meant for you in this beautiful and precious lifetime. These years that we're in, 2023 to 2025, I've been saying this since middle of 2022, you know, these are years of massive opportunity. There's no mistake. There's no confusion about that, just huge opportunity. When we can finally break free from our old patterns, our stuck places, our the heaviness, the denseness in our lineage that we have carried for so many generations, and really create a new future. And again, the intensity of our world today, we don't want to get lost in the challenge. and the shadows and the darkness. We want to be always reaching toward the light, because that's the other side of it, and that's what is possible and available for us. So it's an invitation to really embrace and fully live your own magic. So I know you're ready for all of this. Good stuff. So this is a radical new program I've never offered before, in which I will take you under my wing, thinking of Isis, right? Take you under my wing, and together over the next 6 or 12 months, whichever option you prefer, we will build your new future using Mystery School concepts that will transform your reality. And here is some of what we will achieve together. I will guide you in healing and transforming old fears, doubts, and frustration, the alchemy, turning our darkness into light. And I will guide you to moving from a place of hesitation and inaction into a fiercely loving stance of power, confidence, and clarity. Right. And part of this is really about discerning your own sacred instructions. This is your true and clear mission that you came here in this lifetime to bring forth. Again, it may be a business or it may not. Either way is great, right? And this is written in your astrological birth chart. It's there for us to decode. It's written in every cell and DNA strand within you. And this is truly the sacred architecture of your soul and the plan that you, in your heart, you are longing to carry out, right? So part of it is getting clarity. What are these sacred instructions? What is my soul's mission? And then how can we make that happen? Because that is ultimately what's going to bring you the highest levels of fulfillment and joy in your life. So if we work together, we will have 2 times a month, deep dive intensive one-on-one sessions. These will be 60 to 75 minutes in length. And I will bring all of these modalities, all of my expertise forward, my life and business coaching expertise, my intuition, astrology, shamanic practices, alchemy, mystery school concepts, ritual recommendations, and much more. So this would be 24 sessions if you choose the 12-month option, or 12 sessions if you choose the 6-month option. You can also contact me anytime on email or Telegram in between our sessions for whatever you need. And you have 4 bonus 15-minute troubleshooting, or if you just really need support right at the moment, we can jump on a phone call. You will get full access to 3 programs in the Sacred Planet community, which is the Radical New World Building Group, Astrological Mystery School levels 1, 2, and 3. Soon I'll be announcing level 2. And full access to the Alchemical Art of Mastering Polarity, which is my newest course. I do expect this space to fill quickly, so please contact me right away if you're interested. Now, I do want to note that this is a higher level of investment because I am making a very, very significant commitment to you, right? And so I am calling forth those people who are really ready to make the commitment on all levels as well. Commitment of your time and energy, and a financial commitment that is in true and aligned exchange with all that I will be giving and sharing. And this is something, asking for a higher level financial commitment that I think is really important for us all to talk about, especially entrepreneurially. As you know, in my business, I have many, many offerings that are free and donation based. I have many that are at kind of mid-level pricing. And then I have some just few, programs that are at really premium level pricing. And this is one of those. And I think it's important to design our businesses in this way so that we can be serving people at all different levels, depending on what different people are able to commit to and what different people are able to invest in. Now, if that kind of a larger commitment is not aligned for you at this time, but you still want to learn about these topics, I welcome you to come to my website, which is wearesacredplanet.com. Check out the online courses, many, many free and donation-based options there. But if you are interested and able to make that financial commitment and time and energy commitment to a really incredible level of support and mentorship from me, reach out. I would love to speak to you about this. I would love to work with you in this way over the next 6 to 12 months. And we're just starting at such a potent time right now at the Lion's Gate. And so I know that absolute miracles are coming. Absolute miracles are ready to happen for you in your life. And I can't wait to see all that will blossom. So if you're watching this video later on YouTube, just look in the description field and I'll put my email address in there too for ease of access. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about that as we go. And now we're going to dive back in to the astrology. Now, there is so much happening that's so exciting. I had to keep paring down and reducing the slides because I didn't want to overwhelm you all. So I'm really giving you the top level highlights today. And you'll see I'll be sharing slides where there might be a lot of information on the slide. But I'm just going to give you the top level highlights in what I'm saying because I want to get to the shamanic journey also and let you have that experience. So much to share, working on finding a good balance of all of it for all of you listening. So let's look at the major astrological energies of now. Okay, so Saturn in Pisces. This is such a big one, everybody. And, I started this group, the Radical New World Building Group, which you can find on my website if you're interested in learning more about it, which is for entrepreneurs who are ready to start or expand their project, business, or venture in 2023 and beyond. Because with Saturn in Pisces, we have these two very opposite energies coming together. Okay, Pisces is all the multi-dimensions, all of the unseen realms, our dreams, our visions, our imagination. And this much more feminine or indigenous or, reciprocal connection with the oneness and with all that is. And then Saturn, on the other hand, Saturn is about structure. He's about restriction, rules, regulations, building things, business, finances, these kinds of things, very much more masculine energy. Now, when these two come together, there's a really important alchemy that is happening. And this started in March 2023. It's going to go all the way till February 2026, where, for one thing, the esoteric, the mystical, the magical, the unseen is going to come much more widely into mainstream awareness. And so if you've been thinking of starting a business or a project or a community that is related to, any of these different themes, spirituality, healing, energetics, frequency, ancient wisdom, mystery school, ritual and ceremony, vision quest, rites of passage, plant medicines, astrology, tarot, alchemy, the list goes on. Now is the time. Okay. And this can be with me, this can be just on your own or with anybody else. But my advice to you is if you've been wanting to start that business or that project or that community, do it now, because people are going to need you so strongly as we move forward, right? If you're feeling that call, that's part of your sacred instructions from the universe. The universe is saying, step forward with your gifts, step forward with your modalities or your teachings or whatever it may be, because the world really needs you now. And as so many more people are having an awakening or opening up to the more energetic and more holistic aspects of life, the more interconnected and reciprocal aspects of our world, they're going to need you and they're going to need what you're offering. So take action now in whatever way is right for you. You will be so supported during this time of Saturn in Pisces. And the demand for what you're offering in these categories is just going to go exponential over the coming 3 years. And Saturn puts us through tests, right? Saturn slows us down, creates frustrating situations, puts us through tests and trials, but these are all not designed to beat us down, although it feels that way sometimes, but they're designed to strengthen and empower us, because Saturn wants us to build the strongest possible foundation for what we're creating. So this one's really important for all of us that are into the radical new world building. Saturn in Pisces is really supporting and assisting us in that. Okay, then we have Jupiter currently in Taurus from May 2023 to May 2024. And this is also really important. This is very beneficial, very optimistic. This is huge. So Jupiter is expansion and abundance, spiritual growth, personal growth, wisdom, travel, all these wonderful things, right? And Taurus is our connection with the earth and our body and the 3D realm, the physical realm. So we're getting a huge amount of support here too, to start a business, make financial investments, travel, like traveling to sacred sites. Wow. Yes. Go stand on the earth in a place, that is powerful, and just feel the expansion and the codes coming through, right? Learning a new language, studying something new that you've been longing to get into, and spending time in nature. These are all wonderful activities to do during this time frame. And I have a couple quotes from Jupiter here. So he says, this is your big chance. Give it everything you've got. He's really expanding our ability to grow and create whatever we want to in the material realm. Okay. And he also says, connect in with what's real, the natural world. And I feel there's this really important piece with Jupiter in Taurus that's about our organic sovereignty. So turning away from the technology that's very artificial, that is not based in our real biological reality, and coming back to the body, coming back to the incredible technology that we have right here, right? This magical body, this magical world of trees and birds and the earth and the cosmos. I mean, that's high technology. And so Jupiter is really calling us back to that, calling us back to what's really real. Now, this is more serious, Pluto and Aquarius. And this is really a 20-year transit, essentially from March 2023 until March 2043. So there are many levels to this. Pluto and Aquarius is definitely about being able to access our true power in service to building a new future. Okay. And this is also going to be a huge shift in consciousness at this time, where the Pluto themes of the mystery traditions, life, death, and rebirth, revealing what is hidden, working with our shadows, all of this is going to become much more honored, revered, and brought into the collective awareness over the next 20 years. Now, that's a longer gradual process, but it's going to be happening on really deep levels within each of us and within humanity. Also with Pluto and Aquarius, this is going to bring sweeping changes in social order and public rights. So Pluto will force a change in our leadership structures. And I think this is the biggest, most important theme of Pluto and Aquarius. All right. Pluto is the Lord of the underworld. He is about profound initiations, really acknowledging this life, death, and rebirth journey in our lives. And he tends to compost things. He tends to make something die so that something new can be reborn in our lives. And Aquarius is about the future. Aquarius is about the communities of the future, the leadership of the future, really honoring the unique genius of every individual, and really calling forth our deepest gifts in service to what we're building going forward. So this old, outdated model of top-down leadership, where there are just a few people that have all the power and money, is not going to survive this 20-year transit. Mark my words. Things are going to look very different leadership-wise when we come out by the time that we complete this 20 years. New Aquarian leaders are going to be rising. The old structures of leadership must fall. And so the values that come into, the much more collective consciousness will be egalitarian, grassroots, based in what the community needs. We will see a lot of younger leaders and a more equal distribution of wealth and power. Also, much more diversity in leaders. Aquarius so deeply values diversity on all the levels. And so we're going to see these changes coming through. So this is the change our world needs. And Pluto and Aquarius is going to ensure that it is brought in. There are many breakdowns that must occur in order for us to reach the breakthroughs in this scenario, so it can appear as the death and rebirth of our societal structures. I think we already see this happening in so many ways, and it's because a complete change is needed over the next 20 years. Now, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about August, and then we'll look at the retrogrades. Okay. So August is really inviting us to move into the heart. And these are the energies that we're feeling right now as we're recording this today. So first of all, right now, we have Venus retrograde, which I'll talk more about Venus retrograde in a minute. We have Venus retrograde square Uranus in Taurus. So Venus is in Leo, Uranus is in Taurus, and they're in a square. A very exact square from August 7th to the 16th. So Venus represents our values, our self-care, what we most deeply need, our bodies. Uranus represents change, revolution, liberation, right? So this is about liberation from old patterns, breakdowns of what's not working, especially as related to what we need. You know, Venus in Leo is saying, look into your heart. What do you most deeply need and long for? And Uranus is saying, let's set you free from anything holding you back from that. Okay. So we can really be liberated from outdated ideas of how we thought we were supposed to live and act and present ourselves to the world during this transit. What's interesting is that Venus, because Venus and Uranus are both retrograde and they're both kind of doing this back and forth thing for several months, we'll have a few different Venus square Uranus transits over the coming months. So this theme is going to keep coming up. We're going to keep being liberated more and more. Then we're going to have the Sun conjunct Venus on August 13th, so next week. And this will be about major revelations about how we are meant to express ourselves creatively, because the Sun and Venus are in Leo. So it's about self-expression. It's about our creativity that is bursting forth from within us. So what is in your heart that has been longing to be expressed? What is there that you haven't allowed enough space or air so it can truly shine? Bring it forward, bring it up, let it burn, let it shine brightly. That will be the invitation. And I think we're feeling that already too. You know, we're only 5 days away from that as we're recording this today. That's going to get really strong and be really clear over the coming days. We also have Jupiter and Uranus both together within 10 degrees or less of one another in Taurus all throughout July, August, and September. So Jupiter and Uranus are gearing up for their grand conjunction, which will happen in April 2024 when they'll be exactly conjunct. But right now, they're very close to each other. So it's already bringing in the energy of that conjunction, which is like true liberation, being able to take a huge leap into the unknown and know that you are safe and you will be caught and protected and held safe. So this is like surprises, new information, revelations, revolution and rebellion, and a sense of excitement about the unexpected. This is a really big invitation from this time in the next few months. Is let's get excited about what we don't know. Let's get excited about the surprises that are coming our way. I think we feel a little shell-shocked on one level from all the changes and all the, you know, shakeups and breakdowns. What if we shift our perspective on that? And I really think this is a huge invitation from Jupiter and Uranus. Shift our perspective and really recognize that these changes are trying to bring us into this highest place of fulfillment and joy and really being able to receive everything that we've always longed for and bring in the new kind of world that we've been wishing for. So what if we lean toward it a little bit? What if we have excitement about the changes, excitement about the unexpected? And how would that shift the way we're feeling on a day-to-day basis? Right? Very powerful. I do want to mention this new moon in Leo that's coming up. On August 16th, we will have the Sun and Moon at 23 degrees of Leo. And we have Black Moon Lilith involved in this. So Venus, the Sun, Moon, and Lilith are all together in Leo and square to Jupiter and Uranus, right? So this is huge revolution energy. And this can show up for each one of us very personally because Venus and the Sun and Moon are involved. It is personal, right? We're really each working and striving to become liberated from our old patterns. And we'll be able to make big leaps toward that if we can just open up to it a little bit, right? It may feel uncomfortable, but it's an invitation to really trust the process and really lean toward our highest integrity and values and what feels true to us, what feels true to you. We also have Mars approaching in opposition to Neptune. So this is the shattering of illusions. I always picture Mars like taking his sword to the mirror of confusion that Neptune can put up, just shattering that mirror, shattering the illusions, right? So if there's anything that's an illusion or that's a lie or that's an old pattern from the past that you've been hanging on to, really be open to just let it go and feel how much more easy it can be. We just release that. And then the other, so we have 3 lunations in August. We had a full moon in Aquarius on August 1st. We're going to have that new moon in Leo on August 16th, and then the full moon in Pisces on August 30th or 31st, depending on your time zone. So this full moon in Pisces is a beautiful moment of calming and relief for our nervous systems, because there's a lot we're moving through and is getting shaken up in the middle of August. And this is a chance to take a break. This has many, many trines and sextiles in the aspects of the full moon. So it's really powerful and beautiful. And let's just connect in with all the oneness of Pisces and let ourselves receive that relief for the nervous system. Okay, so we're getting closer to doing the shamanic journey, everybody. I want to tell you about the retrogrades, though, because these are really important. So the Venus retrograde in Leo is what's already happening now. This has been from July 22nd or 23rd, it might be the 23rd, to September 3rd. Okay, so Venus was going forward in Leo. Around July 22nd or 23rd, she changed direction, started going backwards. This is just as seen from Earth. And she will continue to go backwards all the way back to 12 degrees of Leo until September 3rd, when she'll move forward again. Now, whatever you have in Leo, look at your chart. What do you have in Leo? My birthday's on Friday, so I have my sun there. Who else is Leo sun or has strong Leo aspects? Write it in the chat. I would love to hear. We're feeling this very strongly if we have a lot of planets in Leo. Now, Leo represents creative expression, confidence, fierceness, heart energy, boldness, and courage, and our inner passions and fire. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, relationships, our values and ideals, self-care, and creativity. So this Venus retrograde in Leo is such an important and powerful time to come into the heart. Remember, Leo's about the heart, and really get clear on what you need, regardless of what anybody else says. Okay, this is a fiery energy in Leo. Regardless of what anyone else says, what do you need? What kind of self-care do you need? How does your creativity need to burst forth from you so you can feel more fulfilled? How do you need to be more bold and fierce in your life? And what are you truly passionate about that you want to be doing more of? So these are questions that are really important, and particularly with the square to Uranus, we are feeling the need to break free from everything that's holding us back from doing these amazing passion, creative, bold, projects or shifts within ourselves. So there can be a lot of tension because of that square of feeling, wow, I really need this, but what I'm actually getting in my life is very different than that. But what's important is to bring awareness to where those tensions are, where something you really want is way over here and where you are is way over here. Just bringing awareness to that and just starting to ask your guides or ask Venus. You can have conversations with Venus. You can have conversations with Uranus. Help me break free from whatever is creating the gap here, from whatever is keeping me stuck and away from what I really deeply desire. Very, very important for us. Now, very soon, we're going to start a Mercury retrograde as well. And for a while, from August 23rd until September 3rd, both Mercury and Venus, our closest personal planets, will be retrograde. So this is big as well. So this will be from August 23rd to September 14th, 3 weeks of the Mercury retrograde. It will be in Virgo. And so with this Mercury retrograde being in Virgo, Mercury always brings up themes of technology and communications and breakdowns of those things. But with it being in Virgo, this adds an interesting twist. And it's important to note that all of the Mercury retrogrades in 2023 will be in Earth signs. We had Taurus, we'll have Virgo, and then we'll have Capricorn at the end of the year. Now, with this being in Virgo, Mercury is asking us to rethink, rework, and recalibrate around the following themes: health, daily habits, and overall well-being. Okay, Virgo having a lot to do with our health and how do we spend our day? Because how we spend our day really does create our level of health. Okay, grounding and time in nature and how that can improve our health, how important that is to maintain the stability of our system. How we handle stress, finding new ways to calm the mind and nervous system. Anywhere we're being overly critical or judgmental might come up, because Virgo can do that. Virgo can go there, and maybe we'll see where we're doing that, or maybe somebody else in our life will be doing that and we'll get really annoyed with it, but it's like it's all coming into our awareness for a reason, so we can work with it more consciously. Virgo is also the place in the zodiac for really connecting with the priest and priestess within you. Okay, so making space for ritual and ceremony in our lives, increasing our connection with the earth and the sacredness of life, and stepping into that role as the priest or priestess. You know, maybe, as I mentioned earlier today, making those offerings to the earth, starting to hold, maybe you start to hold regular new moon and full moon rituals for yourself, or maybe even gatherings for your community, to help us return to this way of life that is in sacred service to the earth and the reciprocity of all things, right? Maybe you claim a leadership role in a new way around these themes. Now, always with Mercury retrograde and any of the personal planets. So when Mercury, Venus, or Mars are retrograde, it affects us the most personally. The outer planets affect more of the collective. But the Mercury and Venus retrograde happening at the same time, that's very personal. So always with retrogrades, it's a time to redo, rethink, all the RE words: recalibrate, reconsider, realign, right? It's not a time to really go crazy moving forward, especially during Mercury retrograde. It's a time to really kind of sink within, do the inner work, do the healing work, do those recalibrations that are needed. And this is such a big opportunity that we have right now to be learning from our times that we were in the underworld, thinking of the star Sirius again, right? And how are we emerging from that? And how do we want to emerge in a new way than how we were before, right? Really welcoming in that recalibration. So as we move into September, we will have 7 planets retrograde. That will be Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. And then Venus will go direct on September 3rd, but Jupiter will turn retrograde on September 4th. So we will continue with 7 planets retrograde. September 2023, I titled it Into the Liminal Realms We Go, because not only do we have all these retrogrades happening, asking us to really go deep into the inner spaces, but also there will be strong aspects to Neptune, okay, which is very liminal, very dreamy, really asking us to, shed the illusions, get clear on what is true and what is illusion, and then dream big, vision big into what you truly want to create. There will also be strong aspects to Uranus throughout this month, inviting us to take the chances, make the big changes, take a big leap. And then let's just talk about this Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. Okay, so this will be September 4th to December 30th. Now, because Jupiter is one of the more outer planets, it's the first of the big outer planets. It does not affect us as personally when Jupiter goes retrograde. Okay, so this is more changes in the collective. So this will be from 15 degrees of Taurus back to 5 degrees of Taurus. And here are the themes that I feel will be really powerful during this time. So taking a slower, more practical approach to decisions or major actions, really slowing down. Taurus is like slow and steady. Taurus is kind of like the tortoise that wins the race. Really grounding, really connecting with the earth, taking it slow and steady, and knowing that we can get ahead that way. Really spending time connecting with nature and honoring our organic sovereignty, as I mentioned earlier, with Jupiter in Taurus, choosing your body and nature as the highest technology. And getting clarity on the parts of your life that have not been moving forward. You know, the Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter wants us to expand. Jupiter wants us to grow, right? So during this retrograde, he can really help us to understand what's been stalling that growth, what's been keeping that from happening, so that you can find a new way to move forward. And more. There's a lot more with all of it. Now, I think I'm going to pause here and let's do the shamanic journey. There will be eclipses in October. Let me give you the brief overview and then we'll go into the shamanic journey. There will be powerful eclipses and powerful healing coming to us in October. We will have the new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. We will have the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28th. So these, eclipses are always points of transformation. We had the last round of eclipses in April and May. And so we're going to, with the eclipses, go back into a certain degree of higher intensity so that we can welcome that transformation into our lives. I welcome you to come back and pause if you want to see the deeper details here. I don't want to make this video extremely, extremely long, but I'm just kind of going to go through the slides for those end of the year pieces, because I want to tell you about this Mercury retrograde at the end of the year. So Mercury retrograde will be happening conjunct with the galactic center. This is so huge. This is so powerful. The galactic center is actually an astronomical point that we know our galaxy, exploded from. Our galaxy was birthed from. So this is the birth point, the birthplace of our own Milky Way galaxy. And Mercury retrograde will be happening really pretty equally on both sides of that galactic center. The galactic center is exactly at 26, 27 degrees Sagittarius. And this retrograde will start at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and Mercury will move all the way back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is about, for one thing, Capricorn themes of connecting with our ancestors, connecting with those who came before us, redefining work and success, possible career changes during this time. That's actually very likely. And working with the earth, ley lines, sacred sites, energetic portals to amplify our spiritual connection. Sagittarius themes, traveling to sacred sites or energy centers of the earth, opening up optimism and new inspiration, new core beliefs coming into our life. And galactic center themes, such as remembering our star origins, and really connecting with our star families, or maybe take shamanic journeys to the galactic center to see what wisdom is held there for you. Okay, so let's move into our shamanic journey. I honestly have even more astrology slides to share with you, but I'm going to hold those for another time. I'll do another presentation because that's getting pretty far into the future. So let's drop in. I'm going to put up a beautiful image of lions for us for the shamanic journey. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the glowing pyramids. We'll do that. So I'm going to put up this beautiful image for you. And I invite you to get really comfortable in your space for this journey. And so you could lay down if you would like, if that's how you will feel most comfortable and relaxed and be able to drop in. Or you could be sitting up with your spine straight. Or you could be standing and let it be a movement journey. Wherever you are, whatever position is most comfortable for you, go ahead and close your eyes or gaze lightly at this beautiful image, the glowing pyramids and the Sphinx at sunrise. And take a really deep breath into your heart, feeling the connection through your heart with the sun in Leo. And as you breathe out, release anything that you no longer need at this moment, just letting it go. And with your next in-breath, connect back in with that sun in Leo. And as you breathe in, really feel yourself drawing in the courage, the fierceness, the love, the big-hearted energy of the lion and the felines of the Leo zodiac sign. And then breathe out, releasing even more, just letting go of anything you don't need right now. And continuing with this deeper rhythm of breathing, I invite you to imagine yourself at a sacred site, at a beautiful, powerful sacred site, anywhere in the world that you feel called to at this moment. Allow yourself to go there, to travel there, and to stand at this powerful, powerful place on the earth. And maybe you find yourself gazing at a stone circle or an ancient temple or a pyramid or something else. Whatever sacred site you are at, allow yourself to stand there barefoot and with the palms of your hands raised up to the cosmos so that you can be receiving the highest intelligence of the cosmos and the heavens above directly into the palms of your hands, and letting that flow in from your palms, this intelligence, this light from the cosmos, flowing in through your palms and then circulating all around your body. While at the same time, the soles of your feet are connecting with the unconditional love of Gaia. This unending, continual life force energy of the earth, and draw that unconditional love up through the soles of your feet and let that too circulate all around your body. And as you look around and maybe lower your hands, as you gaze around at this place, you see a bright, bright blue star shining so brightly you can even see it in the daytime sky. And this bright blue star is traveling down closer and closer to you until suddenly it transforms into the great goddess Iset, Isis. And now you see Isis, Iset, standing before you with her beautiful wings outstretched. And you gaze into her eyes and you feel the power and magic of her presence here so strongly. And you feel how just by gazing into her eyes, you are receiving the vital life force from the great above and the great below streaming directly into you. You feel healed, rejuvenated, recharged just by her presence. Then Isis takes you by the hand and she says, "Come with me, dear one, for I am going to help you cross through the Lion's Gate." And now allow Isis to take you. Perhaps you're walking along a path on the land. Perhaps you're flying up into the sky. Really trust wherever she brings you. And at a certain point, you see ahead of you the Lion's Gate. And once again, really trust however this shows up for you, whether it is a physical stone gate, maybe it's a portal in the center of the universe. It could be whatever you and Isis intend. And with Isis holding your hand, stand before this Lion's Gate. And set your intentions clearly now, with her help, if you would like, for, first of all, what you most deeply wish to release and let go of. And secondly, what you most deeply desire to receive. And then when you feel ready, allow her to guide you through this powerful portal of the Lion's Gate. And as you step through, you feel that those burdens, the heaviness, the darkness that may have been holding you back for so long, cannot come through this portal. And so it is released from you, and it is left there on the first side. It is, you leave it behind. Even if you don't know exactly what you're releasing, you feel the lightness. You feel the new light coming in, the freedom coming in, just from having let it go. And then as you continue through the portal and you step out on the other side, you feel that you are bathed in a new kind of light. You feel your heart opening to receive at a level that you have not been able to receive before. And to confirm this, Isis places both of her hands on your heart, and then she wraps you in her beautiful wings. And you feel the most incredible gifts and blessings and miracles flowing into you through her energetic field and into yours. And wrapped in this cocoon of her sacred wings, you can ask Iset any questions or share with her any prayers that you might like at this time. Go ahead and share with her what is on your heart. And having fully received this wisdom and this powerful, beautiful energy from her, send her all of the love and gratitude that you can, thanking her with all of your heart, with all of your being. And now she steps back just slightly, and she hands you a piece of paper with a beautiful cosmic message written in her own handwriting. Go ahead and read it and see what it says. If you would like, you can take this powerful message from Isis in her own handwriting and tuck it into your heart so that you will always have it with you. And now it is time to come back. But you will not be going back through the Lion's Gate portal. You've already come through it. You're already an initiate on the other side. You do not need to take those burdens back by any means. So allow Iset to guide you back a new and different way, a light-filled way, a color-filled way that will be extremely powerful for you. And just notice any additional miracles, gifts, or blessings that stream into you on the journey back to that original place where you started, standing in front of the sacred site. And now you are standing there before the sacred site once again. Isis steps forward and gives you one more hug, wrapping her wings around you once again, and you feel so safe and protected. And she assures you that she is always with you, not only during these journeys, but she is always right by your side, and you can call upon her at any time. And now she begins to slowly fade back into that bright blue star, which rises up higher and higher until you see it far away up in the sky. And now, giving thanks for all that you have received here today, giving thanks to this sacred site for being such a powerful place, giving thanks to the earth and cosmos. Begin to return to your breathing, taking a deep breath into your heart, breathing in, filling up with all of the powerful Sun in Leo energy. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to come back to this moment, back to this powerful image of the pyramids and the Sphinx as you gradually open your eyes. Welcome back, everybody. And I do invite you to take your journal or your notebook and write down whatever might be most important to you from this journey, the messages, the new understandings. Be sure to write it down. And I will leave you with this for now. Go forth and deeply enjoy this Lionsgate day. I am sending you all so much love, many, many blessings. Do reach out to me if you're interested in the one-on-one mentorship. I would love to chat more about you with it, talk about possibilities for you. And I hope you will join me and Patricia tomorrow. We will be right here back on my YouTube channel, back on Zoom once again. So look out for the emails with those details. And if you're not yet a member of the Sacred Planet community, if you're just discovering this video and my work today, please come to my website. We are sacredplanet.com, or you can Google Jocelyn Starfeather and you'll find me. And go ahead and register for one of the free gifts that you see on my homepage, and then you'll be included in our future announcements and inspiration and all the magic that is going on in the Sacred Planet community. I'm sending all of you so much love. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Elena, and happy birthday to all the other Leos out there too. Such a powerful time right now. All right, much love, everybody. Many blessings. I will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.